Hey everybody, I am the company's expert, and today we're going to talk about finance. Namely, we're going to talk about what it is and how it can help you to run a business operation, whether that business operation is very small, like a side hustle for an individual, or very large, like a multi-million-dollar multinational corporation. So let's dive in. We're going to talk about what finance is. We're going to talk about the subject matter itself, its pros, its cons, and we're going to talk about the people who specialize in finance, and very generally, what are their pros and cons. Okay, so what is finance? Well, a lot of people don't know this, but finance is actually the scientific study of money in the future. Not money in the past. That's called accounting. And we've already done a video in this series on accounting. That's money in the past. Finance is money in the future. Okay? And that encompasses quite a few different things. One of the most important is how to raise money. So as you can appreciate, if you want to raise some money so that you can create a business operation that will make and sell products, and you expect that they will make you back your initial money with a profit in about a year, that's all well and good, but it leaves you with the problem with how do you raise the initial money? And that's why we need a finance person on our team, because they are experts in this. They know where to go, they know how to get loans, they know how to deal with shares, how to deal with IPOs, etc., etc. There's many different sources of financing, and they are experts on this. Okay? But the central tenet of finance is the concepts of risk and return. Financial people tend to view everything in terms of risk and return. Now, risk, as you can appreciate, is simply the likelihood of something happening as measured in percent chance. And the return is simply the amount of money that you expect to get or for something to be worth. So when you're running a business operation and you have all kinds of business decisions before you, you can look at them through the lens of finance. And what finance will do is that usually for most business decisions, you have several options to choose from. Maybe an option A or an option B or an option C, and you have to decide which one you're going to go with. Well, finance can assign you a likelihood of a certain payoff for each of those options. So as you can appreciate, that would give you a lot of intelligence and help you make a much more informed decision. Okay, so that's a central concept in finance, and that's what it can bring to the table. You can make much more informed decisions. So those are definitely pros. However, let's talk about the cons. And I can say this because I've got a master's degree in finance. There's a couple of big cons. Now, one of them is that although data-driven decisions are very trendy right now, unfortunately, it's not possible to get full, complete, and reliable information on everything. We can't get reliable data for everything. And so data-driven decisions are just not possible to make, especially if you are a very small organization and you have very limited resources. This exists, but it may not be practical to use it all the time. So that's definitely one con of finance. Another big con is that finance doesn't do too well when it has to deal with something that's intangible. Now, let me give you an example. If you have to make a decision now about something that could increase your sales in the next month by a certain amount, but could destroy the reputation of your company in the process, how do you convert the destruction of your reputation to a dollar amount accurately? That's very challenging to do. And as you can appreciate, it's open to a lot of interpretation and a lot of manipulation. So as a result, what we tend to see in the real world is that if you have a finance person who's recommending a certain course of action, we tend to make the decisions based upon the track record that person has of being right and how much you trust them. And that takes precedence over the actual numbers they present. So this is one of the cons of finance. Although it appears to be very scientific, in reality, where the rubber meets the road, unfortunately, it tends to boil down to how much you trust the person, and some argue that kind of defeats the purpose. Now, let's talk about the people that specialize in finance, okay, in a general sense. Now, obviously, these people can bring a unique perspective to any business decision that you have to make. Okay, if you look at it through the lens of finance, there are many advantages in doing this. However, something I've noticed being an ex-CEO and being an executive and having worked across 5 industries, including very large multinational corporations and small startups, is that financial people tend sometimes to not understand the difference between knowing the likelihood of something occurring and being able to influence the likelihood of something occurring. Finance can't influence the likelihood of something occurring in the vast majority of situations. And as a result, if you make your decisions purely from a financial perspective without taking into account other perspectives like that of marketing and operations, whose sole principle is to be able to influence the outcome of something, it's not the full picture, and it can lead to some disastrous results, as I have witnessed throughout my career. So, as always, finance is an important perspective. It can definitely help you and add to your abilities. However, as with everything else, it's not the be-all, end-all. So I hope you found this informative. I hope you will check out the other videos in this series where I'm covering every area of business. Thank you for listening this long. You guys are awesome, and I hope to see you on the next one. Take care.